Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Last Sunday, I participated in an improv theater workshop. And it was a very diverse group of people. Some were in wheelchairs, some were visually impaired, some were stuttering, and some were just like you or me. And all shared love for theater improvisation. So there was much happening, moving, singing, and being playful in all sorts of ways. We were connected by being attentive to one another, being attuned to each other's needs, and acknowledging abilities and disabilities all at once. And one of the tasks was to share with the person that was close to me, where is my comfort place? And I shared that my comfort does not come from a place, but from a person. Every evening, I speak with my partner, Rabbi Marcus, on the phone, and we share a conversation about how our day was, what's happening in the world, what's happening in the books that we are reading. And these phone calls, this connection that we have every evening, that is my safe space, because I can be myself and I can be accepted as such. So at this workshop, I realized how comforting and even healing it can be when we are seen as we are and accepted as we are. This Shabbat has a special name. It is called Shabbat Nachamu, Shabbat of comfort, Shabbat of comforting. And as I already mentioned, we are now entering this special period of 8 weeks between Tisha B'Av and Rosh Hashanah, where we will be reading this special Haftarot of comfort. And this week, we are also reading Parashat Va'etchanan, which in Hebrew means I pleaded, but it also means be favorable to me, do me a favor. And this word is uttered by Moses. So at the beginning of our Torah portion, Va'etchanan, we witness this very intimate moment between God and Moses. Moses is asking the Eternal for permission to enter the promised land together with the Israelites. Originally, Moses was forbidden to enter the land as a punishment for his former lack of faith when he quickly, with haste, struck the rock with his staff at Kadesh, that's a place, to produce water after Miriam, his sister, died. So he was not faithful enough. He sinned in a way. So, and his punishment is he could not enter the land. But now in our Torah portion, the nation, the people of Israel, is standing on the border of the promised land, and they can see it. It's in their reach. All what awaits there, the hills and the wadis and the endless possibility of new beginning is stretching out on the horizon. And at this very moment, Moses does not wish anything else but to be allowed to enter that land with his people, to complete his life journey that started back in Egypt when he was just a baby sent in a basket on the river. So now, at the end of his life, Moses hopes that God could reconsider his decision to punish him. And this is how the conversation between God and Moses goes in our portion. If you want to see it, it's chapter 3, Deuteronomy 3, verses 23 to 28. So Moses says, I pleaded with the Eternal at that time, saying, O Lord, you who let your servants see the first works of your greatness and your mighty hand, you whose powerful deeds no God in heaven or on earth can equal. Let me, I pray, cross over and see the good land on the other side of the Jordan, that good hill country and the Lebanon. But the Eternal was wrathful with me and would not listen to me. The Eternal said to me, enough. Never speak to me of this matter again. Go up to the summit of Pisgah and gaze about, to the west, to the north, the south and east. Look at it well, for you shall not go across Jordan. Give Joshua his instructions and imbue him with strength and courage, for he shall go across at the head of his people, and he shall allot to them the land that you may only see. This is absolutely heartbreaking. Moses worked his whole life to bring the people to the promised land, and now he will not be there when it happens. And God does not want to hear about it. God seems almost cruel here. How come the divine would say such a thing? To unpack this situation, we can reach to a German psychologist, Friedman Schulz von Thun, who created a communication model in 1981. And it is called the communication square. So Schulz von Thun says that every statement can be understood on many different levels by the person who says the statement and also by the person who receives the statement. And there is one classic example which goes that person one says, there is something green in the soup. And person number two says, well, you can cook for yourself. I'm sure we can see ourselves in the situation sometimes. Okay, so what happens here, according to Schulz von Thun, is that we simply hear much more than just the plain factual level of a statement. When the first person says there is something green in the soup, the other person could stay with the factual level and respond, that's peace. Instead, the listening person takes it personally and takes it as a judgment about their capabilities as a cook. So the understanding here is not derived from the factual meaning of the sentence, there is something green in the soup, but the understanding is derived from pre-existing relationship between the two people, because you always criticize what I cook. It can be also turned around. If person number one was known for loving something green in their soup, then we can understand the sentence, there is something green in the soup, as, delicious. You know I love green stuff in my soup, and you put it there. Brilliant. So if we take this theory and put it to the original encounter of Moses and God, we can maybe start to comprehend why was God so sharp. Moses here expresses a desire to enter the land. This desire is probably motivated by regret, what he has done in the past, and possibly also by fear, because Moses knows that these are the last days of his life. And if he does not enter the land, he will die. What he would need in this situation is to be comforted, a big hug, some kind words. But it is not a cry for compassion that the divine hears, quite the opposite. The divine hears that Moses is yet again questioning the decisions of the divine, and God gets annoyed. Don't ever speak of this to me. Enough with this. You have questioned me enough. You will do what I command now. And so Moses does not receive the comfort he needs. He cannot bring this up with God again. There is no way to negotiate. But he still has one more chance, that his people, and that is the people, and their capacity of compassion and care. So the next sentence we hear in our Torah reading is this one. And now, O Israel, give heed to the laws and rules that I am instructing you to observe, so that you may live to enter and occupy the land that the Eternal, the God of your fathers, is giving you. So Moses is being very clever here, maybe even too much. Midrash Tanhuma says that Moses stressed out the word you in this verse to point out to the people that he won't be coming with them into the promised land. His hope, according to this Midrash, was that the people would be stirred to compassion when they realized that Moses was not coming to the land with them, and that they would pray for him, that they would pray to God and ask the Eternal to revoke this decision. Moses believes that if the nation prays for him and pleads with God on his behalf, he will be allowed to enter the promised land. Sounds like a great plan. But there is one problem. The people don't get it. They do not understand this subtle hint. They are too self-absorbed, too focused on getting all the instructions right. They are too busy to pay attention to the tone of Moses' voice. They are too busy to listen that he says, you will enter the land instead of we will enter the land. And so Moses' brilliant plan, again, does not work out, and he doesn't get what he needs. He doesn't get the comfort. And I think we all know this quite well. That's the problem of miscommunication. Moses didn't see clearly enough what he needed in the situation. And also the people, they were just plainly not listening. They were not attuned to what Moses was needing. In the end, Moses receives some recognition, but it's a bit later. When we look into further commentaries, the rabbis are interpreting these harsh words of the divine somewhat softer. The rabbis in Midrash Sifrei say, the harsh language of God's enough actually means, Moses, you are enough. You are more than enough. The king does not enter as a peasant, says the Midrash. You, Moshe, are too big. You are too great to enter the land with the people. It will be very harsh and very difficult in there, and you don't need this. You have worked so hard for all these years. You have done so much for this nation. And now you deserve to rest. You have completed your part and you have done so well. The recognition comes at last. This is Shabbat Nachamu, Shabbat of comforting. And I just wonder, where do you get your comfort from? Where do you turn to? Where do you get your recognition and your acknowledgement? I hope you have a place or someone. And if not, I hope we can create such a place here together by being attentive to one another, by avoiding jumping to conclusions like with the soup, by stating clearly what our true needs are, by not being too subtle. So we can create a space where we make each other feel seen, acknowledged, and appreciated in all our differences. Shabbat shalom. You would now